Hi, welcome to Last Ditch Effort. This is my podcast about using up my stash. My name is Pacasha, and I'm joining you today from lovely New Mexico, and it's perfect fall weather, except a little bit warm, but that's okay. Um, anyway, let's just get straight to it. We usually start with what I'm wearing, and I think we can rename that segment to what gross, fluffy cat hair covered sock is she going to show us today? Hey, today is just a normal 60 stitch sock with hair. This is Knitpicks Felici in Chickadee, and it's just my standard sock that I make, which I'll kind of get into. Maybe I'll do like a sock type segment sometime and tell you all of my basic sock stuff, because I pretty much do the same thing all the time, even though I do enjoy some pattern socks every now and then. But it's an old colorway that's discontinued, but I loved it, and I'm wearing it because I'm wearing a dress that I made it's the Hinterland pattern by So Liberated, and it has little chickadees on it. Let me stand up. And it has pockets, of course, little ties, and it's sleeveless, and I don't like to wear sleeveless. And it comes down a little bit past my knees. Anyway, I find that this pattern fits me best when it has sleeves, but I was always kind of afraid to set in the sleeves for a while. But now I'm not, but I still have this dress, so I'm gonna wear it. And chickadees are probably my favorite American birds. I would say all of my actual favorite birds are from New Zealand, but yeah, so chickadees. And on that note, I have another Hinterland that I've just been working on this week. I realized that this fabric may cost me a subscriber or two, maybe. It's not vulgar, but I love it. I like witchy things. I love Halloween. This is just a pair of sheets that I got. I think they're Cynthia Raleigh sheets from Marshall's, and it was like $14 for extra long twin, and I got a whole dress for myself, and I'm a big girl, like a whole dress out of just one of those sheets, the fitted sheet. I used the fitted sheet even, and so I'm making a little long sleeve Hinterland, and all I have to do now is the buttonholes. This is not a good shot. Are the buttonholes and the hem along the bottom. And I'll have my little October Hinterland, although I'll probably wear it all the time because I like that all the time. Okay. Knitting. This is primarily knitting. Every now and then you'll get some sewing or something else, but actually not even knitting. Crochet. This is my only finished object, and it's kind of just by chance that that we're talking about this today. So some things happen. I was just sitting in my room. I think I was laying down, like trying to rest or something, or just not getting out of bed. I don't know. But I heard a huge crash in our closet, and I was so afraid like the whole like system fell down, because it's not very well made at all, and we have a lot of stuff like on those shelves and stuff, and a lot. What had happened, the shelf didn't collapse, just everything fell off, and it was like some bedding, so we had like some extra pillows and blankets and stuff. And as I was cleaning it up and putting it all away, I was realizing every single blanket that I had knit or crocheted was just up there not being used, because I have cats. Essentially, they ruin everything. They puke everywhere. They're always on our bed, and I just didn't feel like washing this stuff until the cats were not with us anymore. So that was kind of an annoying thing, and it kind of caused a frantic decluttering of many things in our house, not just the closet. But it led me to look at my crocheted granny stripe blanket in a totally different way, and then by extension, my stash. And we'll talk about the stash part later, but essentially I found off, is that what you say in crochet? The blanket that I was working on, and it essentially is like I say that a lot. I'm sorry. I'm reading Essentialism right now. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but so I bound it off and I shoved it in a basket that my cat likes. And so this is my one truly finished object, is this basket that my cat likes to chew on. And he has slept in it every single day. He loves it. That's working out a lot better than it just sitting on top of this, cabinet, like not being used, and me hating it, absolutely hating it. Like, I feel obligated to do something with my scrap yarn, and I don't always enjoy it. And I kind of had a come to Jesus moment with my stash this week. There's just some things that I don't enjoy, and there's just not enough time on this planet for me to deal with that, and I don't want to. So what I did, I cleaned out my stash and I got rid of some stuff, and I tried some things because I have some lovely yarns in there, like that red yarn that I talked about, the Cascade Aegean Tweed. I had just a little bit left, and I cast on a project with that. I was just gonna make like a little like heart for my niece's birthday, and the yarn essentially fell apart, and I had pretty good luck with it and on past projects, but it just wasn't working. I don't know if I'm just stressed. I don't know if I just got a tighter gauge, or I don't know, but it just wasn't working. And I used it to wrap a present after that, and it literally just like fell apart as I was wrapping the present. So I'm taking that as a sign, even though I don't believe in that, taking that as a sign that it just needed to get out of my life. For some reason, it was just taking up space that is important for other things, more important things. So anyway, I don't need another crochet blanket. I don't enjoy crocheting. It really hurts my wrist. I keep telling myself it doesn't in small spurts, and maybe that's true, but I don't think I really enjoy it as much as I try to convince myself that I did. So yeah, we're moving on, and I was able to fill up a bag with some blanket scraps, and then a lot of yarn that I had either too much of, like I already had like that color of fingering weight, and I really don't need more. And I don't know, like I like to use things up. I like to be efficient and responsible with what I have brought into my home, what I'm consuming, things of that nature. However, I just reached a point where I had to let some stuff go. And fortunately, I have somebody that I can give it to that, I mean, she can play with it, and whether or not she likes it or not, that's fine. I find that just exploring your craft, it does use up materials, and that's not necessarily a waste, because you do learn from it anyway. So she got half skeins, she got full skeins. I have a lot more wiggle room in here. I feel better about things. I feel more excited about my yarn because I spent a lot of time last week, after finishing the knitting on my scarf, which I'll show you, like trying to find a project to do with some of these like misfit yarns, because I felt they needed to be worked with first. I felt like it would be more of a clean slate to just get rid of the stuff that I don't really want to work with, so then I can work with the stuff that I do. And I don't think that that was really being fair to myself. So I'm passing it on to somebody else and see if maybe that could be their thing that they want to work on. Anyway, so I kept the leftovers. I kind of bagged up a few projects, but I kept the sock leftovers that I could use in the next year. And that's it. Like, I have plans for it, or I look at it and I see the potential anyway. And I didn't keep any more than that, and it wasn't a lot. So I don't know. I think it'll be a good thing in the long run. I do feel a little guilty. I feel a lot guilty. I don't know if it's my generation and younger. Not to be rude or anything, but I think about my waist. That sounds gross. I think about my consumption and the byproducts of my consumption a lot. And I feel guilty a lot for, packaging on food, anything, really anything. I'm not going to go through a huge list. Like I have a lot of eco guilt, and I have to let go of that because I do a pretty good job. It could be better. Everybody can. But I think about it a lot more than, say, my mother, for example. She doesn't think twice about making lasagna and all the trash that makes. I don't like that. I just can't. I can't deal with it. So moving on. So, okay, I wrote this down. This is nice that I wrote this down. So, I'm giving my future self a gift, which is a gift to use the yarn that I'm excited to use and that I love. And it wasn't just, colors I didn't like. It was, textures I didn't like cotton. I don't enjoy cotton. I finally used up, spoiler alert, the Coast, the Holstgarn Coast, which is 50% cotton. And I'm glad. I think there's little bits that I put in that box just so she could play with it, but I'm glad. It's not pleasant. It was nice for a while, but it's not a yarn that I will continually seek out, and that goes for all cotton. Maybe even some linen yarns. Even though I live in a pretty hot climate part of the year, it's just not. It's not for me. It's not enjoyable. So I'm just being kind of selfish about it. I don't know. No, I'm done. Okay. Let's see. Moving on. Okay, so that brought my stash from $3.24 in Ravelry, and it is now $2.99, and I think that's pretty cool. My 10x5 project. I think, where's it at? I have notes. Of course I have notes. So I have one sweater, 2 mitts, 1 pair of socks, and 3 shawls left on my to-do list. And so I kind of went through and wrote down some possible projects that I'll do to fill those gaps, because I do want to finish that project up before I start doing more other things. But you know what? Let's talk about that later. Right now, let me show you. This is quite exciting. So this hasn't come out of my stash yet, but it has come out of my 10x5 or whatever I'm calling that project count. I finished the knitting of my Horison scarf, and it's quite long, and I believe if you hear weird sounds, I pinned up some pattern like tissue paper to the window so it's not quite so glaring. I thought that was kind of funny. But this is where I was last time. So I had done a yard and then some here. And this is what I've done since then. And so I've got all these little holes and ends to weave in. And then I'm going to give it a nice block. And I may seam it short side to the long side to kind of make a cowl type thing. Or I may just leave it like this. We'll see what it does with blocking. So that needs to come out of my stash numbers, and that will when it's actually finished. So I'm pretty excited about that. And it was nice to knit. It was comforting. Like I said, not a yarn that I'm going to purchase again. So yeah, it's done. That is awesome. What else? Oh, that's the Horison scarf, and the pattern came with a kit called, I think, the Horison kit by Helle Holst, which is Holstgarn. And I used, I think, a size, I don't remember, needle. It was pretty small though. That's not useful information. I apologize. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. My next not finished object, work in progress, I did not work on, not even a stitch. And that's Nio's Crocus. I don't know scientific words. Okay. Crocus Vernus, which is a pattern by Hunter Hammersen. And they're really pretty. I'm kind of stalled out on the heel because it's a heel that matches the pattern, the pattern on the sock. And I generally use a very basic pattern that I don't really have to think about much. So the fact that this pattern's making me think is frustrating. And so I just put it down. So I may actually resort to doing my usual heel and then just continuing the pattern down the foot like I normally would, and maybe that'll get me over this block. But anyway, they're pretty. The yarn is orange flower yarn. It was unlabeled, the kind and the colorway. It was just a grab bag. So hopefully next week I'll have that. I did cast on a new project. Okay, now if my Ouija board fabric didn't piss you off, this is a bag that I got at RuPaul's Drag Race Work the World tour, and it's Lady Camden, who is probably one of my favorite drag queens ever. She's so beautiful. If that bothers you, see ya. I love everybody, so. And they're awesome performers. If you've never been to a drag show, but you have a lot to say about drag, you can shut your mouth, because that's some amazing stuff right there. And it's not all sex. It's not sex at all. Anyway, jeez. Okay. So I'm starting a shawl kind of based on the Wellington Work Shawl, which is by Sam Lamb. Her pattern is in worsted weight, and I knew I was going to have to change a lot just to work with the yarn that I had and to use that effectively. So I'm not actually using that pattern. It's just kind of inspired by that pattern. So it's going to be like a basic triangle shawl, and then it's going to have kind of, you know, those socks, the rag socks, or like sock monkey socks. It's going to have that kind of effect. So there'll be some, after I do a big square of this kind of marled yarn, it'll have some stripe of white, and then a stripe of red, and then some more white, undyed, not white. And I am using, for the marled, it's Knitpicks Palette Twist. And this is Asphalt. And I love palette. Like, palette's one of my favorite yarns to work with, absolutely. And this one actually feels softer somehow. So I'm really, really enjoying this. And I'm not, you know, obviously I'm not that far along, but it's been really enjoyable to work on. So we'll have this as the main thing. And I've got 2 balls of it, so it'll be kind of big. And my red stripe will be Lipstick Palette. It's not coming out the correct way. It is a cool red, but it is more red than, I mean, it almost looks hot pink to me here. Hopefully it won't by the time we upload. And this is some natural undyed palette that I'm using for the rest. So it'll be kind of like a sock monkey shawl, and that makes me really happy. I don't know if you guys do this. When I tried to pull the center out, obviously, from the ball, and you know, you get the yarn barf, and so I just cut it off, and I just started working with this because it was nicer, and most of my work time was in like a waiting room, so that worked out much better. But that's my new work in progress, and I am loving it, and this will probably be my primary focus. I would like to say the socks would be, just to get them off the needles, but I'm enjoying this one, so I have a feeling it's going to go really quickly. All right. So now, what do I want to do? Oh, no acquisitions. I'm not that shocked. Like, that's not something that I want to do. I do not need to acquire yarn. So the last few weeks have been an anomaly, mainly because I've been so stressed, and I'm still really stressed, and things are still not great, but they're a lot better, I hope. And yeah, so I didn't buy anything. It was great. My friend that I gave the yarn to actually asked me to pick her some stuff up from Hobby Lobby, because we went out of town yesterday, and so I shopped for her, but I did not get any yarn myself. And let's talk about some future projects. Like, I like this when people talk about things they may be thinking about. And since I was going through my what are they called? Sock scraps. Oh, it's not even that early, guys. There's no excuse. Well, number one, coming up after I finish that pink pair, or the Crocus socks, I'm going to make some socks for Nio out of this, and I've talked about this before in my acquisitions whenever ago. So this is West Yorkshire Spinner's Signature 4-ply Candy Floss and Milkbottle, which is just white or natural, kind of whatever, off-white. And they will be white socks with little pink colorwork hearts. It's kind of based on the pattern called Oni socks, O-N-N-I, and I'll have that written below, by, I think it's Lainey Hoy is her name. Nio my daughter wants like specific features, so I'm not actually, once again, I'm not actually using that pattern. It's just that's a similar one, if you needed, a reference point. So it'll have little pink hearts on little white socks, and it'll have a picot edge. Yeah, it'd be cute. So I haven't started those yet, obviously, but soon. So let's see. I have 3 bags here that I can show you. These are going to be future socks, but once I finish the pink pair, like, I still want to finish my 10x5 project, which is 10 of each kinds of projects, like hats, sweaters, whatever. Anyway, I've talked about it before. I'm not going to talk about it a lot right now, but after I finish those projects, then I'll move on to doing socks again, because I'm almost done with all the socks I was supposed to do this year. So I have these leftover balls by Nomadic yarns, and I think what are they? I think, this one's Bellatrix, which is a Harry Potter colorway, and she doesn't do Harry Potter colorways anymore, or has renamed them, I'm not sure. And this is McGonagall. Anyway, these are both, I've made full pairs of socks out of those, and I should be able to get 2 more pair using this Knitpicks mini and just a random, like, gray, charcoal gray. It's called Phildar Folk 50, and I think the color's anthracite, or it's gray. Anyway, so I should be able to get, I think, contrasting heels, toes, cuffs, or something with these, and get 2 more pairs of socks. That's on the list, and it is held in my Ysolda Teague Ishbel anniversary bag, because I made a lot of those, so I had to have the bag and the kit. Oh, Ysolda's Knitworthy 7 came out, and the first pattern was released, and it's called the Coracle Cow, and I didn't have the appropriate yarn for that, and I didn't want to go buy yarn. I might have some after I make my sweater project for this year. I might have leftovers of that, and then I'll move on to that, but that's why I didn't cast on right away. Okay, so the next project, there's this pattern that came out fairly recently, and it's called Circle of the Fae. And I just wrote, I don't know, beside that. So that's not useful information to myself or you, but that means I don't know what I'm planning. I think that this green, which is Knitpicks Stroll, I got rid of a lot of my Stroll because I find that it gets really fuzzy after you wash it, and I don't like using it for socks so much anymore. But I definitely don't want to use it for other things for people, especially if they use a washing machine. It's just not going to make a nice project, or yeah, it's not a good gift, I think, if you use yarn that's not nice. It's nice, it's beautiful, it's soft, and I love the colors. It just doesn't hold up as well as others, so we're moving on. So Knitpicks Stroll, this is the Tweed, and I think it's Dill Heather. And I'm going to use this bit of brown, which is, I believe, Knitpicks Hawthorne. I don't know what color, maybe fawn, I'm not sure, but it's just kind of leftovers. I think this will probably be either the cuff or the toe, I'm not sure. It won't be the heel, unfortunately. I don't have enough, and that would have been good because this is gonna wear out. I may have to find some more brown. And then I'm gonna put, so basically it's a sock, and it has a little ring of mushrooms along the top. And so this little bit of leftovers, which is kind of got some earthier colors, that's going to be my mushrooms at the top. And yeah, so that's another pair of socks. Once again, kind of foresty, dark, grimy Baba Yaga socks for me as I enter my crondom. Okay, now this pair, I don't know how this is going to work out either. I just grabbed some purple yarn. This has sparkle in it. I got rid of a lot of my yarn with sparkle too because I find that I don't like the way it wears for myself. Anyway, so this is some, I think I even dyed this. I don't remember. And this is a commercial yarn that I got that has sparkle in it. And pacasha hair. That's a different kind of sparkle. And then I have some Knitpicks Stroll mini in, I think, I don't know, pearlescent, or it's a light gray. Anyway, I've got a few bits of that. So I'm going to make some kind of like stripy socks for my mom because she likes socks. She likes purple and she likes me, and she needs some socks because I don't know if I've mentioned this, but her home burnt down right after my dad died, and so she lost a lot of stuff in 1 year. And yeah, so we're working on getting that back together for her, and she's doing a good job. But yeah, so she needs some socks. Maybe all of her socks burnt up, so I'm gonna be busy. All right, what else have I got? I think that might be it. Yeah, so I think that's probably it. I wrote down some weird stuff that makes no sense to me, so we'll just move on and I'll let you have your day back. Thanks for joining me. I hope that wasn't too messy. Things are getting better, so that's what I'm going to focus on. It'll be okay. Yeah, I hope you're having a great week. I hope everything works out knit-wise for you and otherwise. And I will talk to you in a week and hopefully have some more information for you. If you have any questions, please put them down below. Like and subscribe. I think I'm supposed to say that. Yeah, that's it. Take care.